Lawmakers in the House and Senate may work under the same dome, but their ideas of how to tackle emergency items identified by the governor are very different. Case in point, on Monday, the Senate passed a bill granting $5,000 raises for Texas teachers. On Tuesday, the House unveiled a new school finance program that takes the across-the-board raises away. There's going to have to be a lot of compromise from both chambers to reach a deal on school finance, property tax relief, and teacher pay raises. Here to talk about this is Travis County GOP Chairman Matt Mackowiak and Ken Zafiris of Education Austin. Ken, starting with you. You represent the teachers union for AISD. Which version do you support, the House or the Senate?
Well, Mike, first of all, we do represent teachers and school employees across the district, but we clearly will support the House version. The House is really approaching this in a way that is much more comprehensive than the limited scope of the Senate. We're looking at school, we're looking at recapture, they're looking at per pupil funding, they're looking at pre-K, so they're being much more inclusive in their view of this. So the House version is far superior than the restrictive nature of the Senate version.
Matt Mackowiak, on the Republican side, is there a favored version at this point?
Well, it reminds me of the line from a legislator in the past that, you know, the Democrats are the opponent and the Senate is the enemy. I think there's a difference of opinion here between the House and the Senate on this critical issue, and I think it's clear the Senate wants to make across-the-board teacher pay raises their primary focus as it relates to education reform, as it relates to school finance reform. The House wants to do something, as my friend here said, that is more comprehensive. That does increase the base level per student, that has teacher retention in there, that does fully fund full day pre-K. That's something I don't think will be popular in the Senate. That's just for eligible students, I think, not for all students. So basically, look, we've got about $9 billion to spend. This House bill addresses those emergency items, and it addresses all of it. The Senate bill only addressed about $4 billion for teacher pay raises. They want to do the rest in property tax relief for taxpayers. So it's different approaches. They're obviously going to have to come together, hammer out one version, and see if it can get through both houses. We're still at the very early stages here.
Right, and something like this usually goes pretty late. Ken, how do you think the compromise will look in the end?
You know, most compromises run about a C. We're hopeful that this might run a little bit better. I think there's a real need in both bodies to address school reform. While we're fully supportive of the House version, I believe the Senate will come along. I think hopefully in the long run, we're going to see the Senate look that we have to address school reform in many more ways than just teacher pay raises. I'm a teacher. My wife's a teacher. I clearly want teachers to make more money, but it takes more than teachers to make a school run. It's bus drivers, it's custodians, it's TAs, front office people, food service. It's everybody that makes it happen. So we have to address all of that, not just teachers, though we definitely want to see that happen.
As far as what that compromise would look like, Matt Mackowiak, what do you think? What sort of elements will it have?
Yeah, it's a great question. I do think they probably are going to have to increase, you know, per pupil spending. I don't think it'll be where the whole House, you know, begins with this unveiling. I do think they're going to increase teacher pay. I don't think it'll be the full $5,000. I think it'll come down a bit. And then the question is what happens on property tax reform. You know, the Senate is looking at this 2.5% cap. It might go up a little bit. There was a disagreement between 4% and 6% last session, so you could see that 2.5 go to 4 or 5%. So, look, there's a lot to hammer out here. Again, we're very early, in the early stages. To get the votes in both the House and Senate, you need the House and Senate to both get some victories in what ultimately passes, and so they're going to have to come together at some point here.
Okay, well, hopefully there'll be enough time. Ken, Matt, thank you both very much for coming by.
Thanks.